Hello everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Our training today is Pinterest for Business. So we'll get started here in just a few minutes. We've got plenty of people signing on still, and so now is a great time to get those last minute tasks done. But we'll be back here in just another minute and we'll get going shortly. Okay, I still see some people signing in. Welcome, John, Derek, Sue. Hey, David, Ben, Megan, good to have you with us. Janice, Tom, Larry, Don, lots of people signing in here. If you're here for our training, Pinterest for Business, you're in the right place, and we'll get started here in just another minute. Don't forget to go get that notebook and pen and paper or whatever you need to take notes. We know you don't want to miss out on any of the great information we're going to provide to you today. So we'll be right back in just 1 minute. We'll get started. Okay, everyone, let's go ahead and get going. Thanks again for joining me here today. We've just got a couple items to go over here before we get started. One, if you have any questions, please be sure to type those in. You should see a control bar in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. It's got an orange button with a white arrow on it. Just click on that button, open up the dialog box there, and you'll have a place where you can type in questions. So just type in as many questions as you'd like, and we'll try to get them answered here for you at the end of the presentation. Now, if we do run out of time or you throw me a curveball, then we'll have either myself or someone from my team will follow up with you after the presentation and make sure your question gets answered. So please type away and put in your questions, and let's get them answered. The other thing is that I am recording this presentation, so if you have to leave early or you want to review this, you can visit our replay area in ColoradoChamberWebinars.com, and you'll find the webinar posted there. Usually we get it up there within 24 hours after the live show takes place. So look for the replay there, and you can go through this material again if you'd like. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Roger Maves. I'm President and CEO of the Knowledge Group, Inc. And our company specializes in marketing solutions for businesses, including reputation marketing and management, local business listings, social media marketing, press release marketing, search engine optimization, and pay-per-click advertising. We host webinars like this every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, and it's a free service to the Chamber members across Colorado. If you want to sign up for upcoming webinars, just go to www.coloradochamberwebinars.com, and you'll see all the upcoming webinars listed there. You'll also find the webinar replays section where you can watch webinars that we've done over the past couple months. So go ahead and just register for the upcoming trainings, and we'll send you out email reminders letting you know when they're going to be so you don't miss out, and you'll be good to go. We do trainings like this for many small and medium-sized businesses, and the one thing that I found is that there are three kinds of business owners or managers out there that usually attend. They're the ones that take what we teach and put it into action immediately, and then there are those that hire someone else to put it into action for them immediately. And then there are those that have the best intentions but never really do anything with the information we provide. So which groups do you think make the most money from the great information we're teaching here today? Exactly, the first two. So today I want to make you a promise, and I make this promise every week, that what we're going to teach you today has the potential to grow your business and make you some extra money in your business. And I just ask that you be part of either that first group or that second group that goes and gets this information implemented immediately. So either way, whether you do it yourself or have someone else do it, you'll get good results from today's training on Pinterest for Business. Sound good? Okay, let's get going. Over the next hour, you're going to learn about Pinterest And Pinterest is the fastest growing social network in the world today, and it has huge potential for reaching your target market. So let's look at what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about what Pinterest is. Then, why does it matter? What role does it play in today's world of social media? How does it help your business? Yeah, that's the end result, unless, well, you can use Pinterest just to have fun for yourself on a personal level, and that's fine. But we're here about business, so let's see how it's going to help out our business. Now, how do we use it? How do we set it up? How do we get it going? What do we do with it? And how do we drive traffic with Pinterest? How do we get that traffic over from Pinterest to our website so that we can either sell products, services, or build our lists, all the things that we like to do. And we'll show you how to create a business page. One thing different about Pinterest is that you can create a separate business page, and you don't have to have a personal page at all. So we'll take a look at how that's done. So what is Pinterest? Pinterest is a visual social bookmarking tool. So it's like, you know, in the other webinars that we've done over the past couple weeks, we've been talking about social bookmarking and how we can use social bookmarking to build links to our sites and so forth. And this is a similar application in that, but instead of just bookmarking web pages, we're actually bookmarking using images, photographs, graphical images, videos, that kind of thing. So it's a way to share what you like and what you're interested in amongst your friends in the world via visual images, and that's the big difference. Otherwise, it's somewhat similar to Facebook and Twitter and Google+, but it does revolve around interests, and of course we have interests in our business, so that's an application that we'll look into here next. Okay, why Pinterest matters? Well, it's one of the fastest growing sites out there. It was the fastest to reach 10 million users in tech history. So you can see the graph here. This is from 2012. February 2012, in fact, to July of 2012. And you can see the growth of the social networks there. You've got Facebook, Google+, Twitter, StumbleUpon, LinkedIn, and then Pinterest there at the end. And wow, what a growth history. So people are using this. That's the point. People are using this, and they're making it work for them. Pinterest has 70 million users at this point, and more than 70% are in the U.S. This Semocast study provided this information, and among the 20 million that pinned or repinned, like to pin, 79% of those were located in the U.S. But only 55% of new users who registered in June of 2013 came from this country. So what you're seeing there is, with only 55% coming from the U.S., that there's international growth going on here as well. So this was primarily U.S. in the beginning, but now you're seeing international. So if your business caters to an international market, then Pinterest is growing in that respect as well. Pinterest is generating more referral traffic to websites than YouTube, Google+, and LinkedIn combined. So it is generating traffic to both personal and business websites. So this is something to really consider. People are sharing these images, and it is important to them, and there's a lot of people doing it, so it is working for folks. Ladies love pinning. Women love to share things, and in fact, this is, you know, we talk of it as a virtual bulletin board. It could also be looked at as a virtual scrapbook, but it's a way for people to share things, and especially images and things that they're doing. So women tend to love this and tend to use it more than men. So that may make a difference in your business. If your business caters totally to men, then this may not be the best place for you to advertise and promote your business. But that's something you got to consider, and there are some very creative ways that people are using Pinterest to market and promote their business. So we'll look at a few of those examples here as we in the next couple minutes. Now, let's take a look at who's on Pinterest. Here's one. These are business pages that I'm showing you here. This is a business page for Craftsman Tools. That's a very male-oriented company in a lot of respects, so catering to males probably more than females, but they've got a big presence on there. So here's an example of their business page. Now you're going to see here, and we're going to talk about creating what we call boards. And down here where you see restoration, rollout, tools, lawn and garden, wheels, these are all what are called boards, or kind of a category, different bulletin boards within a Pinterest site. And they're usually focused on a particular niche or interest, a category, and in this case, Craftsman is breaking it down into tools, lawn and garden, wheels, other things. So you'll see this in others as well. Here's one for Orvis. Now, Orvis is an outdoor and both equipment, and notice down here, again, they've broken out their product lines. So they're actually putting their products on, gifts for dad, and clothing manufacturing. Got Orvis Passport Collection and Women's New for Spring. So they've broken this down, and you can see other images at the bottom there. So when you drive into these boards, you'll see more and more images of things that they've pinned into those boards. Here's another one, Toyota, car manufacturer. There's big name corporations involved with this. They're talking here about their racing board, 100 cars for good. It's probably some kind of something that's helping other people and maybe giving away cars. I'm not sure what they're up to there. Infographics, we'll look at some of these here as well. Infographics are a big thing out there now, especially for Pinterest and for Facebook, because they tend to go viral. People share these, and so that's something that you should consider creating for your Pinterest and also for Facebook. Here's another one, Whole Foods Market, okay, grocery store. Again, breaking it down. Eat your veggies. Who wants dinner? Super hot kitchens. How's about gardening? So again, different interests to cater to different people. And I'm showing you these, and you'll want to go out, and we'll talk about this later, about researching. When you set up your business page for Pinterest, you'll want to think about these different boards, okay? And that's what these are down here that I've been showing you. And what would be the different boards that you would set up for your business? How would you separate them out, and so that people could better find and understand your product lines and or your services? Starbucks, who would think a coffee a coffee restaurant that primarily provides coffee. I guess they do have some food items, and here they're talking about espresso, handcrafted. Here's more of a feel-good or lifestyle approach, what's happening in the morning. So there are some very creative ways to connect with people. Here's a realty company, Hatteras Realty, down in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And notice what they've done. They've shown, why people love Hatteras. So they're giving, again, feel-good lifestyle approach to that board. Here's featured properties. Now, I'm sure these are the properties that they have for sale or they're representing right now. Another way to highlight and showcase what they're doing. Different activities. Beach weddings, specifically. So maybe, I guess, in Hatteras, it attracts a lot of wedding couples down there to have their weddings on the beach. So they're bringing those people in as well. So, people want to see more in a real estate site than just featured properties in many cases. So that's why they're catering to these other interests of people. So there's a few of the kinds of business pages that can be created. There are many others out there, and I encourage you to go out and look at more of them to get ideas for yourself and create an idea book, as we'll talk about here in a minute. So how does this help your business? Well, in a couple of ways. Images of products or services are really pleasing to the eye. People like looking at pictures. We've looked at pictures since the first books our parents placed in our laps and started sharing with us. So pictures have always been close to us, and we can relate. And pictures relate to people no matter what their language as well. So they don't even have to understand your language to be able to understand a picture, which makes it very easy for them to relate to. And when you have pictures, people, because they relate to them easier, will click through, and it will kind of preface a sale on your website by preparing them to understand what you're doing and and give them kind of a feel-good approach before you do it. So they'll click through to the source. On Pinterest, when you post, or pin I should say, when you pin an image, that image is connected to a URL or a page on a website somewhere. So when you post your products or services and so forth on your site, it can be connected to a specific page on your website. And that could be a landing page where you're collecting information. It could be a product page where you're actually selling a product. So it can connect to a lot of different places. But people, when they click on the image, will go through to the source. And we'll demonstrate that here in a minute. Users will share by repinning. So the key thing with Pinterest is also creating images that people want to share with others. And if it's a good enough image, if it's funny or interesting, has that special appeal, then some of those images can go viral, okay? And by viral, we mean people one after the other keep sharing it and spreading the word. And when this, as you see, can be connected to Facebook as well, you're actually getting the benefit of both Facebook and Pinterest as far as sharing and distributing your images and, of course, then the connections to your website. It's another way to grow the know, like, and trust with your customer base or your prospects. By having another presence on the Internet, it shows that you are a viable business. You're doing everything you can to connect to your clientele in all different ways, shapes, and forms, and thereby branding and showing that you are there and then you are ready to go to work for them. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, I know we're here for business, but just to get things set up, and this is a good place for you to practice too, is to set up a personal account for Pinterest. Now, you don't have to set up a personal account at all, but I'm going to show you how to do that, and then basically it's the same thing for a business account. You just go in through a different window, so to speak. But this is a place you can kind of play around and get used to it, and then you can better plan, I think, what you want to do with your business after you begin to understand how Pinterest works and what you can do with it. So let's do this. Let's just set up a personal account, and then we'll go from there. So the first thing you want to do is go to www.pinterest.com, and you're going to sign in with Facebook, or you can sign in with an email. Either way, that's up to you. And you have the choice of whether you want to connect Facebook to your account as well. Now, here's the deal. If you have a personal Facebook account and then you have a business page on your personal Facebook account, you'll not be able to connect that business page with Pinterest, but you can connect your Facebook account with Pinterest. So keep that in mind, as when you may want to not have your business account connected to Facebook because it may not jive with your personal interests and so forth. So we'll go into that more in a bit. Once you sign up, you're going to get an email. You need to confirm that email, and then you're good to go. So let's take a look at what that first page is going to look like for you. And because I'm not creating an account in real time here, I'm going to show you screenshots. But when you, well, let me go back here. If you don't have an account, you sign up, press one of these buttons, and then you're going to move on to this screen. This is if you're signing up by email. First, last name, email address, password, where you are in the world, male or female, and that's it. Click the sign up button. It's as simple as that. And the next thing you're going to see is following boards. They're going to ask you to follow 5 boards. Now, by this, these are boards that other people or companies have created, okay? And you're going to get a list here. I'm not showing the whole list, but they're all different categories of interests down the left-hand side. And when you click on one of these, then on the right-hand side, you're going to see a display like you see here. So I could click on food and drink. And then they're going to give you a bunch of recommended sites or boards for you to connect to. Then you just say follow, and then you're done. And notice there's 5 dots up at the top here on the right-hand corner of that page. It's going to fill those in, and once all 5 are done, then you'll be able to proceed on with your account. Now don't worry about this. This is not something that's locked down or anything. If you don't like these boards later, you can unfollow them, and you can choose to follow more than 5 or less than 5, whatever you'd like to do. So this in no way restricts or inhibits your future selections. So once we do that and we get into our account, you're going to be able to, one of the first things you're going to want to do is to complete your profile. So the way you get to that is kind of unusual, and I don't really understand why they did it this way, but when you're in your main Pinterest account page, you're going to come up on the toolbar on the upper right-hand corner, and you're going to see your name up there. If you click on that, you're going to see your boards and a drop-down. You want to click on that, and then you'll be into the area where you can create boards. And at the top of that is your profile there. And you'll see that down here I've created one with my picture and a description. And then you'll see to the right there in the lower corner a little pencil icon. You click on that to do your editing. So that's where you go to complete your full profile, because you don't get a chance to do that when you first create your account. So let me, I'm going to bounce out and do that, but let me just first show you the things that we're going to have a chance to change in there. One is your username, which is the name. It's kind of like Twitter and Facebook, where it's that name that appears after the Pinterest.com /. So that's your username that's used in your URL for your Pinterest site. And you're also going to be able to upload an image or change your image, add information about you and a description, identify your location, and put a website in, which can be verified or not verified. And verification, basically, Pinterest shows others that if you've verified your website, then that's a more trustworthy site than just not verifying it. Because to verify it, you have to have control of the website. So you can't put some other website in there, direct people to some other place. And you can adjust your Facebook and Twitter settings in this area. So let me bounce out there, and here's the sign-in screen for Twitter. Here's the 2 sign-up options I showed you before. So this is what you're going to do when you go to Pinterest.com to get started. Sign up or sign in with email. Sign up with email. And if you've got an account, you just come down here to log in now and click on that, and you'll get the prompt. Now I can just log in with Facebook, use email, and so forth. I do have it set up where I can log in with Facebook. And here we go. So now we're logged in. So this is my main Pinterest page. And the images that are showing on here are images that were selected for me by Pinterest based upon the boards that I originally signed up for or signed up for later. So remember, we had to sign up for 5 boards. Well, when you first come in here and after you've signed up for your 5 boards, these will be the ones that, images from those boards that you'll be seeing. Okay. Now, just to orient you a little bit, you do have a search box up in the upper left, and you can search for different keyword phrases. You can find friends up here, and we'll go through this a little bit later. Over in the upper right-hand corner is that drop-down box I told you about. So that's what we're going to use here in a second. And you can scroll down here, as you can see, wonderful photographs in the world that people have taken. Really incredible stuff. So there we go. Notice there's a lot of travel in there, you know, bucket list kinds of things, places to visit. I do have one on architecture, food. So you see a lot of different things here, wildlife and outdoors. Now you see why people are so attracted to this stuff. It's just visually very, very exciting, and people love pictures. So let's come up here to the upper right-hand corner. We're going to adjust our profile and create some boards here next. So we come up, click on that, we get the drop-down, you go to your boards. You can go to your pins too, but this is as good a place as any because we're going to be dealing with the boards next. Now you see at the top here the profile information. If I wanted to change the picture, I just float over it, click on it, change it. Initially, you'll have to go into your profile using that edit button, that little pencil icon over here on the right, and you'll have to click on that to go in here, and then it'll give you an option to upload your picture. And that's just initially. After that, you change it like where I just showed you. So here's my name. Here's Pinterest.com / and then here's my username. Now you can change this to something else. You are limited. I'm not sure how many. I think it's about 20 characters or so. So you have to abbreviate. And of course, if this is a business page, you try to put something in there for your business if possible. Of course, you know, with 20 characters, you're not going to get a full business name many times. You might want to use keywords. That would be useful too. And you've got the About You you're going to put in here, and location, where in the world are you, and your website. And then you can verify the website. Now when you verify, if I were to click on that, you'll get this this window that comes up, and it says verified sites show up on profile and in search results. Okay, so that's why you want to do this and create credibility. You download a verification file. When you click on that, it's going to download a file, and then that file has to be put up on your website in the root directory. So you have to FTP that up there. I'm not going to go into that. You'll have your webmaster do that if you don't know how to do it. And if you can't, you can also do it with a meta tag, and you can go here for instructions on this. So I'm not going to do this right now, but that's the way it would work. You download a file, you upload the file to your site, and then you can, once you've done that, you can click complete verification, and then it will be verified. So that's how that works. So once you make any changes, and you can change these items whenever you want, you just save your profile, and you're done. So, and then if you want to change your Facebook settings or go to your Facebook account, you can do that through those icons that show up here in your profile. So because I'm connected to those through my settings, then I'm able to connect here. Now that's the other place that you can make changes. If you go up here to that drop down again, and you come down here to settings, then that's where you can have additional control. Here's your email address that you would use for this account, search privacy. You can say keep search engines from indexing or searching, putting your Pinterest things into their search results, and in general for your business you're going to want to let that happen. So for personal, it may be a different story. You'll have to decide on that. Let Pinterest personalize your experience, so they're going to suggest things based upon what you've done in the past and where you've been and what you've pinned. We've got some other options here as well. Email notifications. You'll get emails from Pinterest. Notice they're all defaulting to yes, so you may want to come in here and turn some things off if you feel like you're getting inundated with email from Pinterest. And then down here at the very bottom is where you set up your social network connections to Facebook and Twitter. And notice I've got it as an option that I can log in with my Facebook account, and I can also link to Timeline. And this is posting my activity to the timeline. So if I say yes here, then it will post whatever I do on here to my timeline on Facebook, which could be fun for your personal account and also valuable based upon your business, depending on if you have some connection between your personal Facebook account and your business. So, and then also we can log in with Twitter as well if you'd like. So those are additional settings you can set up for your account, and just wanted to show you where those are too. So I'm going to cancel out of that, and we're back to our main Pinterest page. So the next thing that we're going to do is creating a board. So once you've got your account set up, you want to create boards, and just think of these as we said before, virtual bulletin boards. Just as if you had it in your house and you were sticking things on the wall, with the exception that other people can see these boards or not. You can create a secret board if you'd like, but in general, the general public is going to be able to see what you post and share. So it's like let's say you had an interest in knitting, so you might create one of your boards as knitting. Then you could post things that you find there, pin things. I keep saying post, but in Pinterest language it's called a pin. So you want to pin things there, and then that can be shared with your friends. So if you're in a knitting club or have friends that are also knitting, then you can share that with them and thereby share your interests and help contribute to one another in the growth of your hobby. You could have books you like to read, or a book club board, or you could have places you've been or places you want to travel to, or all kinds of different boards. And in the case of businesses, well, as we saw earlier, this could be product differentiation or services, or lifestyle connections to your products or services. So boards can be a lot of different things. It's real easy to create your first board. You basically give it a name, a description, a category, decide whether it's going to be secret or not, and then you start pinning your own images to it and repinning others to it. And that's really all there is to creating a board. So let's just go look at how that's done. And we're back over here to my personal Pinterest account. Now notice I've created a couple boards. Fly fishing. I've got an interest in fly fishing. Faces I love. Now these are the names that I gave them. Okay, and books. And this is going to be pins that about books that I read or would like to read. So the faces I love were just, gosh, I think there's some having a photographic background in my past. I used to own a commercial photography studio, and I always loved photographing people. So some of the photographs of people's faces out there is so incredible, and I think there's some great things to look at there. So we created, let's just open that one up here. If I just click on that, it will open up that board. So this is my Facebook board for Faces I Love. And as I add additional images in there, they were shown, this will fill and fill and fill and fill. So you can see over here I can add a pin to this. In other words, add another image to this if I'd like. And I can, also send this to someone. I can edit this. Okay, I could delete it. I get tired of it. I don't want to see it anymore. I can change the description. And it also is showing me the source. So when I click through to this, it would take me to that source of that image. So like this one, whoever posted this, it looks like it was pinned from nicestpictures.blogspot.com. So if I click on this, it's going to take me to the pin. And then if I click on it again, it's going to take me to the website that it came from. And this is where the website it came from. So this is how traffic gets to your site. So I just wanted to show you that real quickly. And let's go back, using the back button, back to my board. So these descriptions I put in, so when you pin it, as we're going to see here in a minute, you can add the descriptions to that. So let's go back and look at making a board. So over here on the left, remember we arrived here from going to top line menu, and then you go to the drop down and you go to your boards. So that's how we got to this page. And then you click on create a board. Give it a name. And I could just, I'm just going to make one up here, but let's say fun stuff. And then a short description, fun things I've found around the world. Okay. And then I choose a category. What would this be? Art, celebrities, all kinds of different things here. Humor. Let's just call it humor. Now here's where we can say secret, yes or no. Okay, and by default they are not secret. They are shared with the world. So you decide with this. Now you might have, this could definitely be used as idea files and so forth, especially when you're looking for ideas for your business. So you might want to create some boards that are secret. And that would be a good use of a board that you're collecting ideas for to create your business Pinterest site. So keep that in mind. I'm going to leave this open, and then you just say create board. And sometimes it takes a minute. Okay, this is my fun stuff board. There is nothing in there. I have not done any pins to it. yet at all, so that's why we don't see anything here yet. But if I go back to top line here and go to my boards page again, you can see that I've created it, and it's just awaiting some pins now. So that's as simple as it is. And then, of course, your secret boards show down here at the bottom, so that's where they would show up, and people would not see those except for you. So that's how it is to create a new board. Very simple. And now you just start pinning. So let's look at that. Let's look at pinning. There are several different ways to pin. You can use a Add a Pin button on Pinterest. And I'm going to show you each of these after we run through them here. You can repin on Pinterest. You can install the pin button on your browser's toolbar and then use that as you're browsing the web. You can pin. And you can use social sharing buttons on websites. So when you go to a website, you see a Pinterest Pin It button. You can use that to share and pin the page that you're on the website. So these are all the primary ways that you get this pinning done. Now, to install, and then also, of course, you can install an iPhone app on your phone and use that as well to pin. Now, if you want to install the Pin It button on your browser, here's how it's done. Go to this URL, or you could just Google, Pinterest Pin It button, and you're going to find this as well. But what it's going to do is, as you can see down below here in the image, it's going to add the P, icon to, and this happens to be the way it's done in Google Chrome. The different browsers all have it. It's done a little bit differently in each one. But you're going to have an icon to pin it, so that when you're on a web page, all you have to do is click on that, and then that will bring up the Pin It dialog, and then you can pin that page to one of your boards. Okay, so that's it. Go to about.pinterest.com/goodies, or just Google Pinterest Pin It button, and you'll find the appropriate page for that. So let's go take a look at a couple of these options here. All right, so we can start here right in our board area, and let's say that this new one that I've got, fun stuff, let's say that I wanted to add a pin there. I can click on that. Sorry, I went on the left side here where it says add a pin. I can click on that. I can go to from my computer, from a website, or from Pinterest, either way. Okay, so from a computer, what it's going to say is this is asking you to upload a file from your computer, and then that will become an image that you will link to a particular page, and that's where the image is coming from. So that's one way it can be done. Another way is from a website, and here put in the URL of the page, and then I could pin that, okay, and go find the image that way. And then the other way is when you click on that from Pinterest itself, which Pinterest is recommending some different things to pin, and I'm not particularly interested in any of these things right now, but this would be another way that it could be done. Okay, so let's say I'll do it this way. Let's go to my fly fishing board. I'm going to click through to that. I'm going to add a pin, and I'm going to do it from website. And to do that, I'm going to flip over here, and I'm going to go out to one of my websites, askaboutflyfishing.com. Okay, so this is a website that I have, and I want to pin something. So maybe I see this going by there. I'll just click on this. This is going to take me to a page on this site. And let's say I want to pin this. And I'm going to, knowing in advance I want to have some kind of description for this, I'm going to copy that text off this page. Actually, I'm going to copy all the text. There we go, because you'll see in a minute why I'm doing this. And then copy that. And now look up in the upper right-hand corner, and you'll see that Pinterest button. Okay? And the Pinterest button, you just click on that, and it brings up the Pinterest dialog box. It finds multiple images on that page, and wants to know which one you want to use. I'm going to use this one, and there it is. And then it asks you here, do you want to, I'm going to open that up a little bit, which board do you want to put it on? Faces I Love? No, I want that on fly fishing. And then here's the text that it found, which is actually what I wanted it to find. And I'm going to use that as my text. Tighten it up a little bit, put in a dash here, and we're good to go. And I could share this on Twitter, and normally it should be showing me a Facebook option there as well. So I'm not sure why that's showing, but it gives me the option to share this on other networks. Then I just say pin it. That's all you have to do. And now I've made my first pin. So let's go back, and that's one way to do it. And the other way I was showing you is I could paste the URL in here and go to it that way. So that was the original way that I was trying to show you. But either way, we're back here. Doesn't show up. I'm going to refresh the screen. Sometimes it takes a second to get in there. There it is. So there's my pin. So now I've got a second pin, and it shows that it came from my Ask About Fly Fishing site. So I have a link. So now if people find this out there on my board, if people search, for instance, for fly fishing, they find this, they read about it, and they click through to it, guess where it's going to go? It's going to go to the Pin It page, and then if I click on it, it's going to go to the page there. So that's, again, how I can drive traffic to my website in that fashion. So that's how some pins can be done. Another way that it can be done would be to, for instance, go to a site like here's our Colorado Chamber Webinars.com site. And at the bottom, we've got the social bookmarking buttons. And oh, there's Pinterest. So if I click on this, which you'll find on many sites, then again, it will give me a image. And I can click on that image, and then I can say, you know, what do I want to put this on? And I don't really have a particular board set up for this site, so it's kind of tough. But so I'd have to create one, which you can do, create one on the fly here. Just type it in and create. But I'm just going to pass on this and not pin it. So the main point of this is that when you're on sites and you see the social bookmarking icons, if it has a Pinterest one or it says more like this, and you can go out and look for the Pinterest one, then that's another way that you can do your pinning. So the other thing that you can do is, as we go out to, I'm going to go back, and one way to get back to your home page is just go click on the Pinterest icon on the top here and go back to your home page. Now let's say these are things that are coming in to me that I'm following, all right? And this is where some of the images that I'm getting are from. And I might be going through this and saying, oh, this is nice stuff. And then I scroll down, and here's some faces. And let's say, now this is what we call repinning. So somebody's pinned these, and for instance, this one of this nice lady here. When you float your pointer over the image, then you can pin it. Now this is actually what we call repinning. So somebody's basically already pinned this up into Pinterest, so you're repinning it. In other words, kind of like copying it to one of your boards because you like it. So we've got lots of just incredible images here. And here's one down here that I just pinning. Just an incredible face there. So I'm going to pin that. And I'm going to put it in my Faces I Love and Manning. And I could add something onto this. And then pin it. So that's called a repin, and you can do that from any image that is already on Facebook. Then it's going to suggest other things like this where you can go and follow another similar kind of site. So you'll get different options there. So again, that's another way we can pin. If I go back to my boards, you're going to see that as a new image on my board, and there we go. So that was a repin. All right. So those are a number of different ways that we can do our pinning. Okay, back over here. So some things about pinning. Pinning 101, always include good descriptions with your pin images, and a good description is going to stay with an image as it gets repinned. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you do have something that relates to your business, something from your own site, you're going to want to include the business name in that description. Keywords are always helpful. So write good descriptions, especially when they're your own images. And that's when we get into the business thing of products and so forth and services, of pinning up those images to represent those services or products, then you'll want to have a full description in there with keywords and your business name. So that's a thing you should keep in mind. And pin from a variety of different sources. When people see that you've got a lot of good pins up, so you're going to see this too. When you're going to go out and look at different people's boards, you're going to say, well, what are they doing out there? If they've got a lot of good pins there and a lot of great things they've shared, then you might want to follow their board. And so the more interesting your board is to your clientele, your fellow hobbyists, to customers, to prospects, the more likely they are going to be to follow your board and then see more of your pins as they come up. So pinning not only your own images but people's other images, people like to see that, and that you are more social with this. So keep that in mind. Don't make it all about you all the time. And that's why you saw some of those other boards on like the real estate site and stuff where you saw some lifestyle things. And I'm sure many of those images were from other repins of others' pins on Pinterest. Okay, let's talk now. Now you've got basically the idea of how Pinterest works and how you can create boards and populate those boards with pins. And this is all basically the way a business page will work too. I'm going to show you how to create a business page later. There's really not much to it. It's very much the same as what we've already done. But I wanted to show you the personal site first because it is definitely a good way to get started and to learn how Pinterest works. Okay, and once you get your hands wrapped around that, your brain wrapped around that, and you're able to do different things with Pinterest, then you'll be better able to plan for your Pinterest in business. So let's take a look at a few things. Now these are all businesses that can very easily be promoted and displayed in Pinterest. Restaurants and bakeries, clothing and accessories, real estate, home decor, travel, art, photography. These are all things that you can see are very visual and can easily be portrayed in a Pinterest board. So, but this is not to say that if your business isn't listed here, that there isn't a creative way that you can represent your business visually with images. And I suggest that you go and research other businesses that are competitors to yours or like your business and see what they've done on Pinterest to see how they're making it work for them. So one of the things you can use the different boards for that you create, and this is where you need to be creative about what you can use these boards for, would be such things as insider tips or top trends in your industry, new products, new services, new designs, new uses, how our products used in the real world, things like that. Those are all excellent ways that you can, ideas for boards that you can create. You can hold contests, and you can have a contest for customers or viewers and say, hey, send in a picture of how you use our product, and the best picture that we consider, whatever the best picture there is, we'll give you a reward for being the most creative in the use of our product, something like that. So that's another way that you can hold a contest of some sort to get more traffic and to get more images on your site as well. Okay, so go out and research. Like I said, research other sites to get ideas. and then you can begin to visualize and create a plan. And this is another thing you can do is when you have your business account, I would try to plan it out on paper as much as possible, saying, well, we're going to start out with these 5 boards or these 3 boards, and they're going to be labeled this, this, and this. And here's what's going to go into it. And here are some things that I've already got ready to go into it, and here's some things we need to create to go into these boards. So plan that out. It's kind of like what we're talking about blogging and so forth and social media posting, is create an editorial calendar, so to speak, so that you have something going up there on a regular basis. It doesn't have to be every day, obviously, but you can get something every week, then you can keep it active. And if you create an editorial calendar of what you're going to do and in which board you're going to put them in, then that's going to make it a lot easier for you to populate and do the pins as you have designed. So here's some other pin ideas that you can use for your business. Products, you can pin those. Services. Infographics. I'm going to show you an infographic here in a minute. Coupons, deals, do-it-yourself, how-tos, words, like motivational things that might be useful to people depending on your business. Let's say you're in the health business or something like that. That would be very appropriate. So these are all kinds of things that you can pin. As Jason Falls from Entrepreneur.com said, perhaps the most powerful business application is the ability to post images of your company's products on your Pinterest board and link them back to your website. It works as sort of a virtual store catalog. So it's just another way for people to find you out there. So let's bounce out here and look at a couple of ways that you might be able to find some things. One thing you can do is come up here to search. And you can search things like, for instance, let's search infographics. I talked about those before. You might want to create an infographic. Now, granted, you might need some help with graphics on this and hire somebody to do this. You can lay out the ideas with the stats and so forth, and then give it off to hand it off to a graphical designer and have them work it up. So here's a infographic on social media. So if I click on that, here it comes. Social networking at work. And it has these statistics, so it's very visually oriented. I can scroll down, see more of that, and you can break this out. So maybe you can make an infographic for your business. Go out and look at these and get ideas. And then notice they can be quite different. This is very boring here, this one. It's got a lot of boxes, which isn't visually exciting at all. But look at this one. It's a coffee cup broken down into different sections. Here's using vegetables to act as a graph, basically. So there's all kinds of ways you can do infographics. If you're lucky enough to create something that's very interesting to the public, then this can go viral. And people can see these and take this, and it'll be posted on Pinterest and also could be posted on Facebook and then go viral, and people will be sharing, and that will just bring a lot of traffic to your website. Let's look at something else, like if I go up here and search again, I'm just going to put in fun stuff. I know that's not very descriptive, but you'd be surprised what it comes up with. So here's some fun stuff, okay? Here, my life goal, how to make it 360 degrees around the top bar of the swing set. Just a cutesy thing of a guinea pig. These are the kind of things that people will share. And so if you can make something funny too, people always like humor. So if you can make fun of your business or something fun that happens within your business, and it can be as simple as taking a picture like this of a swing set and putting some words over it that make it fun, and then that can be shared as well. Let's see what comes up different for funny. And again, same thing. Oh, it came up fun stuff again. Fun quotes. You can create actually an image. This is nothing more than graphics. See here? It doesn't have to be photographs. It can be just a graphical image like this one here. Some people just need a hug around the neck with a rope. Okay, that might be something that people share. Or 10 fun facts over here. Love is always and always will be. Love is free and always will be. So there is all kinds of different things, and you can turn a picture into something funny and it gets shared. Other things like do it yourself. So DIY, do it yourself. Let's see what we come up with here. And I'm showing you this just so you can go out and get ideas on. I have no clue what your business is about and how you might use this, but here's do it yourself things. So how to tie a pretzel, it looks like, okay, or a knot. How to put this dress on up here. There's 9 steps of putting that dress on and how to configure it. How to create one of these designs with thread. So you can do things visually, and that could be just the start of getting people to go, oh, or like this cake, how to decorate the cake. And you might say, wow, that's some interesting. Maybe I'll click through and see what other ideas they have. Well, then you can click through to that. So that's how you can drive traffic to this. Here's an idea, a bookshelf idea. Very cool thing with the tree down here. So do-it-yourself things is another great way to define things. What if your business is offering some kind of deal or, coupons? You can put a coupon up on your site. Here's a lot of ideas for coupons. And then when people click through the coupon, that should take them to a landing page that has a buy now button, So here, use your coupon today to buy this, and they're right on your site ready to purchase using their coupon. So great way to do some direct sales in that regard. Okay. Now you can also type in things here that relate to your business to get ideas. For instance, real estate. And I noticed there, okay, we've got different things here. So we've got everything from a house, house shots to here, rules for real estate success, a sales and marketing guide for real estate agent. Okay, that's appealing to a real estate agent, but you're going to click through to that. It's basically an ad. You're going to click through to it and then get his product that he'd like to sell you. Here's an infographic, blueprint for a real estate market recovery. Here's an ad, basically, the honest real estate agent, training guide for, okay, so here they're offering a guide or training. Dictionary of real estate terms. Code of ethics, that's pretty boring, but there's all kinds of things. Here's a person's picture of themselves. Again, a property picture. And now here they've put together a number of pictures plus a description, basically put an online brochure. So you can get all kinds of ideas. And then when you click through to their site, like I'm kind of curious as to where this goes, this real estate one. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click through again on the image and go through to their site. Okay, this is a screen printing company. It's not actually a real estate, so it's a sign company. Interesting. But it appeared because it was a real estate example. So that's kind of interesting too. But anyway, this is a way that you can go out there and do your research, get ideas about what you can put on your site, try to come up with something interesting that people will want to share. That's the key thing. Can you make it go viral? Can you make them want to share it? And this is a great way to look at different things. You can also find specific companies if you're interested in figuring out, how a particular company is representing themselves on Pinterest. You can look them up, and the easiest way I found to do that is really through Google. It's kind of, you can search in the search bar here in Pinterest, but you'll get a lot of different sites. For instance, if I were to type in something like Chrysler, then I might get a lot of people's boards that have to do with Chrysler and not the specific Chrysler company board. And so it's kind of hard to sort through them sometimes. So what I do is I go out here to Google, and I would type in, for instance, Pinterest and then Chrysler, and then let it see what it comes up. Then I kind of scan down here and I'll see the different ones. So this first one, Pinterest.com/Chrysler Corporation, and I have Chrysler Autos, capital Jeep. Okay, now we've lost it there. So let's try the first one here, Chrysler Corporation, and see what we get. And here we are. This looks like the corporate site, official Pinterest channel. All right, so this looks like it's the correct one. Let's poke around a little bit more. We've got over here favorite cars, share your favorite cars. It's a Jeep thing, Dodge, Guts Glory Ram, Fiat Fun, My Chrysler Vehicle, SRT, Pentastar, imported from Detroit, and so forth. So you can see that they have many different boards there to attract customers or potential customers. And we scroll on down. So if I was a car manufacturer and I was trying to research what Chrysler was doing, here I am, and I can see what they're up to. Now, some of these things are very visually exciting. Like, look at this yellow one down here. Chrysler sweeps on in the low-priced field, and it's really kind of a dynamic shot. And then come down here to what's in your ultimate. I'm not sure what that is, but look at that shot. That's pretty incredible. So let's just click through to that and see what that is. See what that board looks like. So this is what's in your ultimate dream car collection. And so then they have different posts here of what you might want in your collection, all the way from the Austin Powers car here to Paul Newman and a red Beetle. So they've got all kinds of things here. But you can see it's fun to look at. People might share these images just because if they're car enthusiasts, because they're cool car shots. And there you go. So that's another way you can research particular companies is go to Google, Google them by their company name plus the word Pinterest, and you'll end up finding the actual company Pinterest boards that belong to the company. So that's another research tool for you. Okay, let's go back to where we were, and I'm going to bounce back out to our presentation here, and let's move on. Okay, so one thing there are certain tools that you'll want to implement, and especially for your business. And one of them is the Pin It button for your website. Now, there are two ways to go about this. This is one way, and you can go to the URL you see on the screen there, and you can get they have a little, kind of widget or program on the site on Pinterest to generate these pin buttons. Then you can take this pin button and have it put on your website right near a picture or on a page where you want to encourage people to pin. Now, this is a little time-consuming and a bit cumbersome, and it's probably something your webmaster has to do if you don't do those kinds of HTML additions to your site. So this is probably, like I said, a bit cumbersome and a bit time-consuming. So there are other ways to do this. Another thing because really, as a website owner, you probably want them to pin almost anything on your site. If it's public and they're willing to pin it, go ahead and pin it. So we want to make it as easy as possible, and that's the whole idea of this, because not everybody has installed that Pin It button up on their browser like we showed you earlier. So this gives them a chance to go right from their page to be able to pin it. Okay, so let's look at another option. They have another tool out there, and these are called Pinterest widgets. Now, the Pin It button is one of those widgets, as you can see down here on the left. And then here's a different looking button, and with a word on it, and so you can change that. And they have Pin It widgets that show on your site, pin widget, profile widget, a board widget, where you can display your pins on your website if that makes sense to you and will help you. That's something that I don't normally do on the sites we're working on, but here's an option for you. But you might want to identify the button with a name on it. It might be more interesting, more recognizable. So this is the URL. You go to that, or just Google Pinterest widget builder, and you'll come to the page as well. So that's another way. And again, this is going to generate code, and the code's got to be copied out to your website, put into an HTML page to get it to work. Okay, now here's another. And this can be done a number of ways. If you have WordPress, this makes it real easy. They have WordPress plugins, and some of these we've talked about in previous seminars. Shareaholic is one. Get Social is another. Share This is another. Share This, I know for a fact, has the ability to generate code, and then you paste that code in your website, and you get the array of buttons similar to what we've got down here below. This is actually the one I'm showing here is Shareaholic, but Share This has an array of buttons as well. So the key thing there is that if you, depending on the design of your website, you can take the code and put that in so that it shows on every, like in WordPress, we can have it show on every post, underneath every post, or underneath every page, and that just happens automatically then. If you have a site that's not a WordPress site, then you'll have to get your programmer to put what they call an include statement in there with the code and include that on any page that you want the share buttons to show up. But the nice thing about this is it's not just Pin It that's on there. You also have Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and LinkedIn, and so forth. So if a person would rather share it in a different way, it really doesn't make any difference to you, right? If they'd rather share it on Facebook, fine, share it on Facebook. We still get the exposure. But WordPress makes it real easy, and all these programs have plugins where you just plug it in, you say I want it to show on both my pages and posts, and that's it. And you can also exclude pages that you don't want it on if for some reason you don't want it for visual reasons or whatever, design reasons. So these are things you want to get done on your website so that others will be able to share and pin the content from your website. So you want to make it easy for them. And so this is another way to get that done. Okay, so once you get that happening and people are pinning, you want to get social about your Pinterest. You can tag other users. Once you follow someone, you'll be able to get their username, and you can tag them as you would in Twitter or in Facebook. You do it a little different. You type their name and it tags them, or tag their picture. But here you can use @ sign and then their username in your descriptions, and then that will tag them and notify them that you're talking about them and you're pinning something that relates to them. So that's a way to get, if you're interested in making a connection with somebody who's got a good board and has been pinning some nice things, and for somehow that will benefit you, maybe an alliance, maybe a joint venture, maybe something like that, then this is a way that you can kind of get their attention that you're doing something and you're including them. You can mix up your pinning, doing original pinning of your website pages and or images, and with repinning. And that's what I was just talking about. Repinning is repeating somebody else's pin, or as in Facebook would be sharing somebody else's post. So that's a good way, or retweet as you would in Twitter. All these social media sites have a way to share content, and with Pinterest it's called repinning. And we did that a little bit earlier. I showed you how to do that, so that's something you want to do to get more social out on Pinterest. Comment and like other people's pins. So when you're there, you can leave a comment or like it, and thereby be recognized and potentially engage others as well. If we went back out there to, let me just jump back out real quick. When we float over any of these pins here, you'll see pin it, which means I'm going to repin it. You can send it to somebody, or you can like it over here. Okay? And if you open it up, then you can leave a comment. So let's go over to this infographic here, and if I were to click on that, there's the infographic, and notice comments. So you can leave a comment here. And that's another way to engage the person who originally pinned that image. That's a way to engage them and to engage others. If you leave the right comment here, others may see it that come to this. And for instance, you might say, oh, this infographic really explains well how to, let's see, what is it? 9 steps of success, real estate agents, and it goes through a bunch of things. So you could comment on this and say, oh, by the way, this is really good because it explains this, this, and this. And I also did a webinar on a similar topic on my site, and here's the link to it. So if you can make honest comments that add value to the pin and help others, and then direct them to your site in a realistic way so that you're not spamming, then that's a good use of the comment section. So that's a great way to become social with Pinterest. Okay. Follow other boards, and you can follow all the boards of a particular individual or company or only a specific board. So Maybe, for instance, Chrysler had a specific board on sports cars, and that's what you were interested in, so you can just follow that board on sports cars, or you can follow all their boards. So either way, and that will get you connected to see what other people are doing. You may want to follow boards for yourself so that you can research and understand how other people are doing it. You might research boards and follow them for competitive purposes, to watch your competitors, to see what they're doing. Like I said, we might watch boards and create our own board with ideas and pin our ideas on that board, so, and keep it private. So there's all kinds of ways to follow and use different boards as you follow them. Followers are following, which is what we were just talking about. You have the option to follow friends on the left if you're connected to Facebook. So if we go back out here, over here on the left, find friends. Here are friends on Facebook. These are people that I'm already friends with, and I could follow them. And by doing, for instance, let's just go to Donald Kirby. I want to see what he's doing before I follow him, so I'm going to click on his name. And he's got some things going on here, so I might say, oh, I'm interested in winemaking. I might want to follow that because I like wine, and I've made wine before, so that might be good. And here's another wine pin, so there might be things I want to repin from that or learn from that. So, you know, there we go. So I can see if he's active or not. You certainly don't want to follow somebody that's not active, that's not doing anything. Let's try this one. Oh, she's got a lot. Nicole's got a lot of things. She loves Kid Rock. Okay. Yum. She's a foodie. She's got food going on here. Holiday kinds of things happening. So there you go. So that's another way to follow. You can also go up here to find friends to follow. And here you can see all the friends from Facebook that have representation in Pinterest. And so you might scan down through this to see what they're doing, if they're doing anything. Some people aren't. For instance, here, Dean, he's just got one picture posted. He's not really active on Pinterest at all. Neither is Cheryl here. But others seem to be very active, like Jeff here and Candace. So you have to kind of poke around and see if any of these friends of yours might be interesting to follow. Okay, let's bounce back over. And just like we just talked about, you can search friends, find friends, as I showed you, look for people with activity, look for boards with similar interests, and be consistent about following people. Try to keep adding people, and you know, make sure you're following people that make sense for you to follow and that will give you some advantage. You know, don't just follow a bunch of people to follow them. Make sure there's something that you can get out of it, either with a relationship or learning in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so where do we get the traffic from? Well, as I showed you a couple of times, when people click on an image, they go to a pin page, and then for that pin page, if they click on the image, they go to your website or whatever URL you've designated for them to go to. So that's how the traffic gets through. So what you've done is you're enticing them through the visual aspect, through images, through photographs, whatever, through infographics, product shots, that kind of thing. And you entice them in with that, and they want to learn more, and then they'll click through and learn more. So that's one way that you get traffic. So as I said, you click on the pin, you click on the image, you go to the website. So the more interesting images you post, the more pretty, the more engaging images you post, the more followers you will get. And that's the key thing. You put, you know, uninteresting things up, and you're not going to get people to follow you, just as you wouldn't in any other situation as well. More followers you get, the more clicks to your website. They are repinning your pins, which means the people that are watching their boards get to see it. So you have a viral effect starting there. You have a one-to-many relationship, and then you have a many-to-many relationship. So this can grow into a network of friends that you can't even possibly imagine. So get more followers, get more clicks is really what it's down to. So what do you do with the traffic? Well, branding is one thing. Certainly Chrysler isn't going to sell cars right off the website. At least I don't think they're doing that right now on their website. You can buy cars over the internet, so I shouldn't rule that out totally. But branding is a great way for the large corporations to use Pinterest. And since it's visual, they can show their cars, they can show their logos, they can show all kinds of stuff. So a lot of companies will use it for branding. you can use it to sell products and services directly. So if you do have a business, let's say, a lot of clothing manufacturers use Pinterest, and they can show a shirt or a pair of pants, and when you click through, it can actually take you to the buy page for that pair of pants or that shirt or whatever. So the same thing with services. So you can direct them from a pin all the way to your website where they're actually buying something. So you can use this to make money and sell product or services. You can also use it to build your list. If you have them click through from one of the images to your website, you can have them go to a landing page where you can offer them a free report, other information, webinar, collect their email address and name, and add them to your list that you will be marketing to down the road. You can also run contests to build your list using Pinterest. So a couple of ways that you can develop and build a list. But list building is fine. Then you can take them the next step and get them into your system, into your marketing funnel to help sell products and services down the road. So that's pretty much it. Now, I wanted to show you how to create an account for Pinterest for Business. So here's where you go. It's a different portal that you enter to create a business account as opposed to a personal account, but it's basically the same kind of thing. So you go to business.pinterest.com, and then you choose the type of business. You add a description, a logo, verify the website, which you'll definitely want to do for a business site, and then you create boards and start pinning. Same kind of thing. So let's just go out and look at the first part of setting that up. And I'm going to go to businesspinterest.com. And then it says join as a business, as you can see here. You can go through these other tutorial kinds of things down here to learn about starting up a business. But once you click on the join as a business, once you click on join as a business, you get this. So you choose your business type. A lot of you will be using local business or professional. Probably be the two most often, or it could be a retailer. So those are all kinds of different business types. Put in your contact name, email address, password, what your business name is, what you want to use for the username for the business. Again, either have it descriptive of your company name or potentially a keyword phrase would be good. And if it's not taken, then you'll be assigned that. Again, I believe you're limited to like 20 characters, something like that. You can upload an image, which could be your logo, and then enter a description of your business and what you do, which will show at the top of your boards. Put in your website address. Once you put in the website address, it'll ask you to verify. And once you, as we talked about before, to verify, you will need to it's going to give you a page to download. You're going to take that, download that page, and then upload it to your website. So if you're not a webmaster or not doing HTML, you may need some help doing that. But definitely do that. Once it's uploaded, then you can come back in here, click on the verify button, and get that verified, and that gives you more credibility and shows that you're a trustworthy source as far as Pinterest is concerned. So that's really it. And then everything, you create boards the same, you start pinning the same, but this is representative of your company and not personal account. So you treat what you put on it a bit differently. Another thing that I don't know, I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but we talked about creating boards as a secret board. Well, you might want to do that for research purposes, but the other reason you might want to use secret is to develop a board out before you actually show it to the public. So initially, in your business account, you might want to, it's kind of like, think of it as a draft mode for Pinterest, a draft mode for a board. You create a board, you say it's private, secret, and then once it's the way you want it, looks nice, then you say make it public, and then the world can see it, and then everything looks good. So that's a good way to do that, a good tip for that. Okay, so that's how you do a business page, a business board on Pinterest. So now that you've done that, whether it's personal or it's business, and of course we're talking about business, then it's time to get started pinning out there. And you need to do this on a regular basis. It's kind of like all the other social media things. This isn't something you do once a month once a year. You know, if you could do something daily, that would be great. Most of us don't have the time or maybe not even the information or the interest to do things daily, but certainly you should do things at least on a weekly basis. Now, not so much with Pinterest, but this could work in the mix. I know for our clients, we do social media posting, and we actually have a package where we post for Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and LinkedIn. And we post every day. We do 2 posts a day for each of those for them. We don't include Pinterest in that, but you certainly could post to Pinterest twice a day, or at least repin something twice a day to become active, and that would keep your account active and interesting for folks. So keep that in mind. Consistency, regularity are all important things. Funny, beautiful things are always of interest and get shared. As I just said, do it regularly. Be social, interact, like things, comment on different things, get involved where you can, especially in the industry that you're involved with. So find the people that are interested in what you have and then interact with them. Follow them and maybe comment on some of their posts. So that would be an interest. For instance, I have a website called askaboutflyfishing.com. My clientele are people that are interested in fly fishing. And I do interviews every month where I interview experts on fly fishing. And I broadcast those interviews live over the internet and then record them and put them in an archive on the website. So I could interact with other fly fishers through this and let them know about my site. So they might have posted a great shot of them with a fish or something, and I could go comment on that and say, oh yeah, that's a permit. What a nice permit you got there, which is a type of fish for those of you that don't know, saltwater fish. And by the way, you know, I did an interview with someone on our internet radio show about permit, and you might want to go listen to that. It might be interesting to you. There you go. See, now I was social. I commented and said nice things about something that they had pinned, and then I said, oh, by the way, I've got something that might help you out, and then they get into my funnel. So that's, you know, being social, following people in that way can help you out. Like images, as I just said, comment, repinning images, of course, and sharing them using, as you saw in the settings, I can specify that I want to share my repins out there with my friends on Facebook. So that's another way to get more exposure for your pins on Facebook as well as Pinterest. So that's what you need to do. The more you do it, the more activity you'll get, and the more business you'll generate for your business. Okay, we've got time for a couple questions, and so let me see here what's come in. See if I can't get a couple of these answered, and if I don't, then be sure to contact us after the webinar, and I'll be happy to try to help you out, or one of our members of our staff will get back to you as well. And let's see here. Derek wrote in and said, what are the legal concerns regarding pinning or repinning? Good question. So you have to think about images as you think about images in general on the web. You can't take somebody's original image, which is by them just generating or creating an image. For instance, if they take a picture or draw a picture, make a graphic, make an infographic, that is by copyright law, they own the copyright for that image immediately, okay? And you can't take that and use that to your own benefit directly. In other words, I couldn't take somebody's photograph without their permission, put some words on it, and then use that as kind of a catchy thing to use on Pinterest, okay? Now you can take, if you pay for stock photos, and you get the license from those, then you're more than welcome to do that, depending on what the license is and what you paid for. So that's not a problem if you do get permission or pay and license images, and then you can reuse them or adapt them in any way, shape, or form that you want. Now, it's certainly not illegal to repin something. It's certainly not illegal to pin something from somebody's website. So let's say I'm on somebody's website and I pin it, and that produces a pin on my board that has a picture from their website and a link back to their website. Now certainly most people won't have a problem with that. And the reason is that it will generate traffic for them. So you're usually not going to get in any trouble by pinning or repinning other people's content when the link from that pin goes back to their site and in that way gives them credit. So think of it that way. It's the same thing as you wouldn't just copy an image off of somebody else's website and put it on your website. That's illegal. You're infringing on their copyright. Now, if it's a stock photo, you go to a stock photo image bank and purchase the rights to that, then you have the right to put it on your website or in Pinterest. So keep that in mind. The language that comes from Pinterest is, in fact, you acknowledge, and this is the legalese in there, you acknowledge and agree that to the maximum extent permitted by law, the entire risk arising out of your access and use of the site, application, service, and site content remains with you. So they're basically saying, hey, whatever you do, you're responsible for what you do. So just be careful. Use common sense and you should be fine. Okay, another question from Sue says, can you unfollow someone? And yes, you can unfollow someone. You can follow them again. You can go back and forth. So you may have followed someone and then decide, their stuff's not interesting. You can unfollow them and do that. So that's not a problem at all. Larry asks, is Pinterest a good solution for all businesses? That's a very good question. I suppose it depends on how creative you are. And this is why I was encouraging for you to look at what other people are doing out there, because they'll give you ideas and get those creative juices going and give you an idea so that you can create something that might be interesting. And I'll tell you, all you need is one good idea that goes viral, and you'd be surprised at the traffic that you can get. So research what others are doing in your industry and see what they're doing and see if you can make some variation of that work for you. Now, some of you, if for instance you're an attorney, you might say, well, geez, not a lot of visual things going on in our business. How can we use Pinterest for us? And that's where the research comes in. See what other people are doing. Now, infographics could be important there for you. You could have, humorous pictures with interesting copy on them that pertain to law and might encourage, especially if you're in a particular kind of law. And it might not be humorous. It might be serious. And what I'm talking about is, an image with some kind of print over the top of it. So go out and research and see. Some businesses are going to be, admittedly, more difficult than others. If you have a catalog of products, it's very easy to post, your products up. If you're something visually oriented like art or photography or design work or something like that, then it's easy to come up with images. But other things you'll have to be more creative on, but it can be done. It can work for just about anything. Okay, well, we're up to the end of our time here. I need to finish up. So let me just run through a few things that you can do next week to get up and running in Pinterest, and then you'll be good to go. Okay, first up, day one, set up a personal Pinterest account with a couple of boards and start pinning. And like I said, I encourage you to do this on a personal level just to get to know Pinterest and how it works and to understand how to create boards and start pinning. You'll be doing research, you'll be looking at a lot of other boards, you'll be getting ideas. So it's kind of a learning, a place where you can learn that will not affect your business at all. And it's a great way to get started, to get in tune. And setting up the account, once you set that up, then it'll be easy to set up your business account. So once you're feeling a little comfortable with that, then day two, create your business Pinterest account. At least secure a good name for that so that you're not stuck with something that's kind of crappy. So you want to secure that good name. So at least get that done. You may not want to create boards right away, or like I said, you may want to create private boards at first, do your layouts and so forth before you actually make them public. The other thing you can do at this point is get those share buttons out on your website or websites if you have multiple ones. If it's WordPress, put those plugins in. If not, get your webmaster to get the code for these some of these social sharing buttons and get that put onto your site so that people can start easily sharing the content on your site. Day three, start searching for ideas that you can use for your pins. Create a secret board for yourself, and you can do this on your personal account, or you could do it on your business account. It might be more convenient if it specifically pertains to your business to create a secret run on your business account. But start collecting in that secret board ideas that you want to use for your business. And it's just like an idea board. It's just like you had an idea board at home, a bulletin board where you post things. Great way to do research and collect and organize your ideas. In fact, you can create different secret boards for different projects and then move the pins into those depending on what the category is. Okay, day 4, start creating or collecting images that you want to pin. And these are images for yourself, not repins. But these are actually original images that you either have to get created, have already, you need to collect them, get them together, that kind of thing, or get images that you want to use from a stock image source. And if you're not familiar with those, a couple that I use is iStockPhoto, iStockPhoto.com, BigPhoto.com. If you just go out there and search stock photo sites or agencies, you'll get a bunch of them. But those, check the prices out. Some are more expensive than others, but you can always do that. So start getting some images together that you do. And if you start creating some kind of editorial calendar, and on that calendar you say, well, I'm going to use image A for next Wednesday, and then on Friday I'm going to use image B, and then on Monday I'm going to use image C, and lay that out. And then if you work a month ahead, it'll be a lot easier to just pop those in when the time comes. And then pin and repin on a regular basis. So keep your account active, keep your boards active. You see something else and somebody else's that's interesting, repin it. And if that helps your clientele, then that's great. Realize on a business account, you don't really want to be sending them in other places, so you want to be careful about what you repin and where you send people so you don't lose them. But many times, a repin might send them to a site that will benefit them. That's something that you don't do and won't interfere or won't cost you any business, and you can share that knowledge, thereby help your clients or prospects in that fashion. Okay, so that's a week's worth of work for you. And then, wash, rinse, and repeat, as they say. You keep doing this. I mean, all these social media and sharing, processes are things that once you get up and running, you just keep doing. So keep that in mind. Keep up the good work, or get somebody else to do it for you so that you know it's getting done and you're not leaving it stagnant. So if we didn't answer a question for you today, or have other questions come up, you're watching the replay, don't feel bad about calling us at all. 1-800-985-1673. And one of us here, either someone on my staff or myself, will get back to you or answer your questions over the phone as best we can. You can go to ColoradoChamberWebinars.com where you registered for this, and there's a Contact Us option there, and you can send us an email with your question as well. So that's a great way to get in contact with us. So we hope you learned something today, and that it will help you with understanding how to use Pinterest for business. There's more and other things you can do, and hopefully we'll do some additional webinars in the future, maybe about particular techniques that we can use for Pinterest. But for now, that should be enough to get you going and keep you busy. So that's it, everyone. Don't forget the replays also, too, on ColoradoChamberWebinars.com. We will be editing this and getting it up there here in the next 24 hours or so, and that will be a place where you can replay it or play it again and learn how, absorb more of the webinar. So take care, everyone. Make it a great day, and get out there and pin it.